Welcome to another episode of the Tight 15 podcast. We have gone to extreme lengths to get this podcast to you with the short turnaround between game week 16 and game week 17. But we don't mind putting in the effort because we love you and we know that you love the pod, and that's all that matters. Joining us this week, as always, Tom Mulherron and Marcus Tripodi. Marcus, how are you doing?
Going good. I love the pod. I love hearing. We did get some positive feedback from Luke Wheeler, who was shedding tears, but he did say that he loves the pod. And
yeah, we appreciated hearing that. Thanks, Luke. Tom, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. I'm climbing in the overall ranks. I've had some big weeks last couple of weeks, so I'm very happy in fantasy land.
What about real life land outside of fantasy?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy in real life land too.
Well done.
Yeah, good stuff. Dave Murray, it's great to have you with us. Speaking of pretty happy in real life land, 2020 has been a big one for you, but you're looking forward to 2021. What's on the agenda for you this year, big fella?
What's on the agenda? Well, it's a pleasure to be here. It's an absolute honour. 2021, I don't know, just get through uni, don't fail anything. That's probably top of the agenda. But I don't know.
Yeah. Good stuff. What about the FPL agenda? Your performances warranted a spot on the pod, even though you went down this week. It's great to have you with us. Have you been enjoying FPL so far this season?
I think I've enjoyed people's passion for FPL. I've enjoyed seeing the different types of players, the spreadsheet people, the people that don't have a care in the world. I personally am aiming for absolute mediocrity, but I love to see the passion.
Well, speaking of aiming for mediocrity and the Malcolm zone, Tom Mulherron, can you give us a quick review, quick update of the beer table? Who owes beers, who's owing beers in the overall standings?
Yeah, so it's been 15 game weeks so far, so we've got a pretty solid overall tally here. We're a clear leader with Daniel at 7 beers owed to him. Big lead there. And Marcus is next with 6. Brian at 4. Brian lost a few this week, as we know. Then we've got a couple on 3. We've got Lucas, Ryan, and Luke all being owed 3 beers. Parlay and Sam both on 2. A big rise from Sam there. And Nikolai and I on 1 beer owed, and just a single person in the Malcolm zone, we call it, where they have broken even. They neither owe beers, neither are owed to them. And so that's just David, our guest today. He's on 0.
Well done, Dave.
Special guest.
Fulfilling your goal of mediocrity.
Cannot complain with 0. Cannot complain. Then moving down, we've got Brandon, he owes 2 beers. Simeon and Tom Joe both owe 4. And Bailey as well owes 4. Perrin owes 5. Getting dire for these guys. Lee owes 6 beers. And Geordie owes 7 beers. Very dire down there.
Yeah, wow. Those guys, they're racking up the beers. And they're racking up the beers because of their performances week to week. So let's have a quick look back at game week 16, the head-to-head results from game week 16, because there were some incredible performances. Let's look at the start of the season. The TV companies all got together. They looked at the fixtures of our FPL league, and they picked out which ones they felt were worthy of being televised. Now, you can understand which fixtures the public wants to watch, and names like Brian versus Baker, Marcus versus Lucas, those matches came up. But one match that was continually overlooked was Bailey versus Luke Wheeler. Yeah. No one wanted a bar of it, but these two lads are arguably the 2 form players in the comp. Yeah. Luke came into this match having won 6 out of 7 games, and Bailey having won 4 matches in a row.
That's insane.
That's unheard of for Bailey. But the COVID curse struck hard for Luke Wheeler this week, and he suffered his lowest score of the season with 6 players unavailable. Away from Bailey, though, it's his 5th win in a row, and the birthday boy is flying. Well done, Bailey. Brandon Diaz has finally broken his losing streak and secured his first win post-armpit wax with a win over Simeon. Brandon's squad depth getting him the win there, as he was able to bring some points in off the bench, while Simeon had no one to replace the missing Spurs and Everton players. A lesson perhaps for us all about squad depth. Brian Heo, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Heo appeared on this pod on the 10th of December, 2020. Since that date, he has not won a single match. The big man has lost 5 in a row, finishing in the beer owing zone last set. And he explained to me last night in a phone call that he has banished himself from the chat and won't return until he wins a game. So the shame and dishonor that he has brought to his family has seemingly become too much to bear, and he's self-isolating until he breaks the curse. I was very happy Brian this week. I have to admit,
now.
he is an easy beat. He's a top 4 beta. Do yourself a favor, check the fixtures, open up the app. Are you versing Brian in the coming 3 weeks? Because if you are, you are in luck, because you've got an easy win on your hands. How unlucky can you be? Dave Murray scored a massive 61 points, almost double the average this week.
Yeah.
And it was a score high enough to beat every single person in the league, except for one person he was actually versing. Parlay, of all people. Dave, how did it feel to lose like that and to lose to Parlay?
I didn't know that I would be reaching such lofty heights early on. But I knew pretty early on that I'd be losing because Parlay and I had almost identical teams. I think we only had 2 people different. And the minute Southampton and Leeds finished their games, it was all over. So Bamford's second assist really killed me. But oh well, I'll take the second place. Hopefully that will prop me up above the owing zone.
Yeah, it can be the difference.
That's a great point. Yeah, total score can come in handy. But very unlucky there because the assist given to Bamford was a bit of a joke. But let's move on. We got to witness the incredible drama of head-to-head FPL firsthand on Thursday morning as Marcus used all of his brain power to try and figure out whether he'd beaten Dan Baker. Like a parlay prediction. 1 minute you won, the next minute you drew, then you lost, then you won again. But ultimately you did lose. Talk us through your emotions. What were you feeling at the time?
I felt it's one of those things where you overthink what you're doing. So I just made decisions that went against the team. Like I played Johnson instead of Martinez. Everyone played Martinez. That was 3 points. That would have been the win. And what was tilting me was the fact that Baker had made, I think, 2 transfers that week and the week before 1 transfer. So I was convinced the whole week that he was on a -4.
Oh.
We had to, because we were checking, like Ryan and I were checking the that secret app that he has that shows you like the large score, and it was showing that we'd drawn. So we were like, oh, that's actually not that bad. And then it came down to bench points. So that was the lesson. And that's been my subsequent transfers now, to just get bench guys who are actually going to play. Yeah. So I learned a lesson. So it's a wholesome ending.
Yeah. It is a wholesome ending. It was fun to see you go through the roller coaster of emotions, but it was a huge win for Dan Baker, who now sits alone at the top of the standings. No one would have picked that at the beginning of the season. Well done, Dan. Nikolai came into his match with Lucas on the back of 4 straight wins, and Nikolai has become the only person in the league to have beaten the 3-pod host this season. But you need more than that to beat Lucas, Nikolai. Lucas is a big 4. You don't just get to come in here and think you're good enough to sit at the big 4 table.
Yeah, we're not Lucas.
You don't. All right, Nikolai? We, as the FPL Milady League Council, told Lucas to go and defend our honour, and he did.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lucas.
Like a little attack dog.
That's right. You've redeemed the honour of not just the pod, but the whole league. We can't have the enemy of the pod winning for too long. Lee has finally broken his streak of losing games by just 1 point. Well done, Lee. Improvement this week, losing by 17 against Tom Mulheron. Rumours circulating that Lee's parents are contemplating hiring Sam Allardyce to come in and take over his relegation. But it just might be too late. Tom, a crucial win for you. Since game week 12, you've gone win, loss, win, loss, win. You must be searching for some consistency.
Yeah, I mean, some head-to-head consistency, but I don't know, if you look at my overall ranking, I'm
No one
Like, I didn't used to care about it. I didn't used to care about it at all. But now I'm looking at it and like, I'm getting like okay scores, but like I'm shooting up the ranks in blocks of hundreds of thousands each week. Last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
So
now.
I'm doing something right. We're at 1.4 million.
Brilliant.
If you can get inside the top 500K at the end of the season, that's incredible for someone who's like a complete novice at this one.
See, I got 61 points this week, same as Dave. That was like the 170,000th in the game week rank. Like that was
That's
very
amazing.
high. Yeah,
that's amazing. And if you finish in the top 500K, that's better than Nikolai's done in any of his 14 years playing this game.
that's true. Yeah.
You're doing well. Tom Jobe is a lucky man. He missed the deadline and left his captaincy on Bamford when he would have put it on Kane. That decision proved to be key in his win over Sam Mears. TJ has flown under the radar in recent weeks. He stands out, in my mind, for registering one of the worst scores of the season a couple of game weeks ago, and he lost heavily to Nikolai. I remember Nikolai doubled his score. And that's what I remember. But somehow he managed to scrape enough wins together to land in the Malcolm zone.
Yeah, you did well.
I don't know how TJ does it. A great start to set number 4 for Tom, who will no doubt underwhelm yet again, but never owe any beer. Sam, a lesson for you this game week. We've mentioned it a few times. Sort out your bench. You can't rely on Vokins and Neco Williams to get you through this busy period. Otherwise, you're going to have more defeats.
Yeah.
And finally, Perrin versus Geordie, the equivalent of a W League match before an A League curtain raiser of Wellington Phoenix and Central Coast Mariners. The West Brom versus Sheffield United. Try as you might, it's one of the most boring fixtures you can ever imagine to see. You would not be able to sell tickets for this one. Two worst performers in FPL this season lived up to expectations with two of the lowest scores this round. Paul Perrin, he had 8 out of 15 players missing as he registered 27 points. Perrin needs some serious help. I'm going to put his team in the chat later. I just want people to give him some suggestions and he can just pick the best ones. We don't leave any man behind in Milady Malik. But probably the only person who shouldn't give Perrin any suggestions is Geordie. Incredibly, this is a great stat for start of the week, which is up next. Incredibly, this is the first week all season that Geordie has not been in the beer owing zone.
Can it continue?
Oh, wow, yeah.
He can keep his head above water. But that is the Game Week 16 review. Over to you, Marcus, for our start of the week.
All right, the start of the week. We're going to fly into it. I don't know if you remember I'll quickly check in. Dave, how are we feeling? You're there in the chat. We haven't really crossed over to you yet, but your time will come. But are you feeling okay at the moment?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling comfortable, ready to go.
We love that.
Ready for a good stat, you know?
All right, ready for multiple stats even? All right, so
I'm ready.
reflecting on the previous batch of 5 game weeks, I've got to give up the title of Big Daddies because we have Big Daddies popping up all over everywhere. It's mainly the Mears have changed their names to Big Daddies. We've got Bailey Big Daddy. He's of the past 5 game weeks where the beers were owed. Bailey, his overall score was actually 9 points below the Milady League average. Despite that, he got owed a beer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brian himself owed 2 beers despite being 4 above the average, showing that it doesn't matter. Tom, you're reflecting on having good overall points. Doesn't matter. You can be below it and still get those beers.
No,
Beers. So applied to the entire 15 rounds we played, Sam Big Daddy is owed 2 beers across the whole thing, as Tom read out, but he's below the mini league average. There are actually 6 managers who have a better overall score than Sam who owe him beers.
yeah.
Particularly frustrating for Joby, who has a 6 beer swing. Tom owes 4 beers and Sam is owed 2, and he's beating Sam on overall points. But even more frustrating for our pod favorite Lee Cartwright, there's an 8 beer swing despite him actually having better overall points.
Wow.
Frustrating as for him. Otherwise, everyone else who currently owed beers are above the average, whilst everyone owing is below our average, meaning that things are actually evening out.
Okay.
And the managers who are consistently performing they're getting rewarded. So tell me quickly, what do Bailey, Brian, Geordie, Lee, and Perrin all have in common? What do you guys reckon? Because there's some big Bailey, Brian, Geordie, Lee, and Perrin. Because it is pretty not abstract. I don't know if you pick it. At the end of every 5-week slot, there is some type of beer activity happening for them.
Okay. Beer activity.
Either getting owed beers or they are owing beers.
So they'll never finish in the Malcolm
There's
zone.
no Malcolm zone happening.
Okay.
So obviously, yeah, Brian went from the lofty heights of second to third last. Whereas I think for Bailey, Geordie, Lee, and Perrin, it's all been the beer owing zone. And then the last one, and this was a wholesome one for Luke, because I know he was feeling crap about not making the FPL Cup. Really, he's the only manager in the history of our league to actually beat the mini league average in every week of a beer zone block. So over 5 weeks, he beat the game week average every single time. No one's been able to do that.
Wow.
And not only that, up until last week where he had a bit of a rough score, before that, he actually had the longest streak of being above the average. He beat the average 7 times in a row. And before that, I think it was Brian. But other than that, everyone is pretty inconsistent. But I guess it sucks saying it now because Luke just showed that he is also inconsistent, having a crap week. And those are our stats. We're going to move on.
I'm glad
Awesome.
they were amazing. We missed it last.
Yeah.
That was worth the wait. Fantastic. Thanks, Marcus. Let's move on to the Wheel of Fortune. Last time the wheel landed on Perrin, and his feature match was against Bailey. The prize and or punishment that was up for grabs in that was beer sabotage. Thank you, Brian. And Perrin lost, which means that Bailey at the end of the season gets to stick any body part he chooses in Perrin's beer, and Perrin will have to guzzle it down.
Guzzle is such a gross word.
I know. I think it fits though.
It's right.
Dave, you are our guest this week. As you know, the guest gets to contribute a prize or punishment to the wheel. What prize or punishment have you selected for us this week?
I've gone for a bit of more of a wholesome punishment. Some might even call it a prize, depending on the type of person they are.
Anti-punishment.
Exactly. The forfeit that I'm giving is, I'm going to call it overwhelming praise. I don't know what the name is on the wheel, but what you have to do is, if you lose, you have to give a sincere, genuine, nice thing about every other person in the chat. So you have to say something in the chat, genuinely nice about every other person in the chat. Now, I know some people in this chat don't know each other very well, but you guys are creative. You can come up with something.
But you got to get to know them a bit because it's got to be
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can prove that you are truly the most wholesome person in the chat.
Yeah.
It can't be any of this. I don't know you, but you seem nice.
Yeah.
crap.
No. It's got to be as if you've like school friends. You've known each other for your whole
As you've
life.
made out with them a few times.
Yeah.
I like that one, Dave. That's probably our nicest and probably best edition.
It's easy
Yeah.
for some people and not so easy for others. I'd love for it to land on Nikolai and he
Yes.
about me.
What about you? About his brother?
Or
Yeah.
Parley.
Ooh, pretty nice. I would give great compliments, I think.
He would.
Hollywood.
He would.
Yeah.
Well, without further ado, let's cross live to the wheel and we will see who the wheel lands on and what prize or punishment is up for grabs this week.
We're not editing, so I don't think it matters that we do that.
Share the screen. Here we go. All right. So, Ryan, do you want to go now?
Yeah, sounds good. So we've got all the names up. We're trying to punt this out as quickly as we can, so we don't have the faces. That's okay. But as you can see, everyone's name is there. We've got all 18, and whoever's name it lands on, obviously that person and their opponent will be a part of the feature match. This week, however, Perrin, Bailey, Tom Job, and
Oh, it's on the chat.
Parley.
We've got to get that. We can't actually get out of this.
Oh,
It's there.
there it is.
What does it say? Perrin, Bailey, Brandon, or Tom Job?
Not Parley. Parley can be selected.
Yeah.
So,
double select.
Perrin, Bailey, Brandon, or Tom Job.
Yeah.
If it lands on any of their names, we'll have to respin.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we're good to go.
Let's go.
Right. Let's spin it. Here we go.
Oh man,
There's no music to on.
I reckon it's going to be a Lee. I think I'm vibing a Lee. Oh no, Brandon.
Oh, Brandon again?
No,
Oh,
Sam Mears.
Who's Sam Mears got this
Who's
week?
Sam Mears nosing?
Have a look. Let me look.
Yeah, we're going to have a look. Do you think we should do the prize
It's
first?
not me.
Prize punishment first? For next time. Okay. All right. What do we got?
Right.
Sam Mears nosing. The suspense is killing me.
Oh, come on. It's
Hang on,
like,
hang on, hang on.
It's not me. Who is it?
where's Sam Mears?
Lucas.
Oh, Lucas. That's good.
Oh, so the
Sam Mears.
wait, we
Well,
don't know the
what-
price of
Yeah,
punishment
that's
yet.
what I mean.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
All right.
It's beer.
Oh.
I love the beer one.
All right, let's go. Let's
Take me
go.
on the receiving end of it, but it is.
This is
It feels the most tense.
huge.
Sam against Lucas.
This is Sam.
Oh man, a lot of them are
Okay,
pretty good. Actually.
what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Oh, the beer.
Oh,
Love that. Love that. That's a 10-point win. Remember, 10
It's
points.
10-point win.
that's right. Yeah.
Locker. I don't.
All right.
Sam Mears only wins by 1 point.
Sam Mears does have 2 extra beers to his name. He can spare them, I guess, if Lucas.
Yeah,
This week.
Yeah.
But Lucas has been known to.
crazy.
I don't think actually Lucas has never bottled a game. I think he's actually coming.
No, he loves to choke. He
Ah.
loves to choke.
Overall, he's like 10,000, isn't he?
He's doing so well on overall points. But as you mentioned, that counts a little.
That's a
Yeah.
little. That's true.
Fantastic. So we know that Lucas versus Sam Mears is the feature match, and a beer is on the line.
The
So-
best one.
It is the best. The winner, you have to win by 10 points or more, and then you will receive a beer from the loser of the feature match. So maybe Sam Mears might be tempted to triple captain. Hey Sam, get in there. We'll just see the outcome of that.
Maybe he can waste his free hit. Shit.
Yeah, like Brandon. That didn't work out too well for Brandon.
It was anti.
Just ask Armpit Boy.
Yeah, I'll love it.
All right, let's get to know Dave, our special guest.
Hey, let's get to know you. You're looking very fresh at the moment. We were saying before that 2021 is going to be a year of simple pleasures. Passing uni. I believe that was the one goal for the year.
That was the one, the only. It's very
It's very what?
aimless.
Yeah, but when you stop to think about it, is there any other? You want to take your wife out for a nice meal? That could be.
Look, that's a good suggestion. I'll have to keep that one in mind. I don't
don't wanna
know if
commit
that
to it
category,
yet,
like fits in the goal category, but maybe I can aim for those lofty heights. We'll find somewhere super nice, you know.
You know how to treat a woman.
Yeah.
If that's a goal for a whole year.
Yeah, considering going out for a dinner with your
Yeah,
wife,
yeah.
that is you're doing things right.
Don't let Sarah talk to our wives. They're gonna get ideas.
Yeah. Immediate possibility of it. No, but okay, yeah. What are you doing at uni at the moment?
So I'm finishing up a teaching degree.
Yeah.
So teaching history and English, super exciting. I know it's enthralling subject.
No, they are.
But yeah, just that's about it.
You had your prac. I know you have had some pracs.
Yeah, I've got 12 weeks of prac somewhere in a school.
Oh, you haven't had any yet.
No, I had 4 weeks last year and then 12 weeks this year.
Oh, right. Where did you go?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
I went to the good old Mossman High School. Very
Oh.
trendy, very, very normal state school. Apart from the fact that I don't wear any school uniforms, so that was a bit different.
What did you have to wear?
Well, I reckon I was probably the best dressed teacher in the school because the students don't have to wear uniforms. It means the teachers have like most teachers rock up wearing like Vans and like
yeah.
half time, not a collared shirt. And I was just like, I walked in being the private school boy that I am, walked in wearing like collared shirt, nicer shoes, and I was like, I feel as though there's no teachers in this school.
Yeah. They're looking at their
Um,
lips, looking at you, being like, "Oh, fresh meat." This guy.
Exactly. This pompous old teacher that's come to the school thinking he knows what's up.
How did you like? What was it like teaching kids at because that was your first prac?
Yeah, first prac. I reckon it's pretty chill. I think first prac, my supervisor was a very chill guy. I think the shock was, I think first year 12 class, I was just sitting in the back and my supervising teacher just unloads like F-bombs everywhere and stuff like that. So I was like, I was getting ready for a very like professional learning experience, whatever. And first like year 12 class is just like teachers swearing, students swearing, all like nothing like mean, just like that was.
Did the F-bombs add to the lesson?
Sorry?
Did the F-bombs add to the lesson at all?
I think they added emphasis, as you learn about like the ancient Spartans, if you F-bombs add some emphasis.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not my teaching style, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah. What's your teaching style, would you say? Because have you got an identity yet as a teacher? Like as in, because I know
I'd
you.
say it's probably still developing. I think I'm pretty lax discipline wise and pretty pretty conversational. I reckon I want the kids to be able to talk and feel comfortable in the class. I'm definitely not a disciplinarian.
Yeah. Sounds like you're describing a youth group.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a bigger youth group.
Yeah.
We've got a few teachers in the chat.
I don't know.
Really.
I feel as though just depends on who the kids are. I had one year 10 class that were the bottom year 10 history class.
Mm.
And it's very related almost to football because there are a bunch of Italian kids at the back who you had to bargain with them to get them to do any work.
Yeah.
And the bargaining genuinely was you do 20 minutes of work, then 20 minutes of talking about football, and then 20 minutes of work at the end. And that was how every class went. And that was genuinely the only way to get them to do any work. You could threaten to get them to move, or threaten to ask them to sit outside the classroom, or they didn't really have detentions, but you could threaten to keep them in. And that did nothing. The only way to get them to talk was either to talk about sneakers or talk about football.
That's two of your great loves.
Yeah.
Did you get any FPL tips off them?
They were much more interested in the Serie A. They're all Roma fans.
Yeah.
But not many FPL tips from them.
Well, they would have just said get Jorginho in. He would have done all right for you early on, but maybe not later. Okay, cool. And then do you know where your next prac's going to be?
No idea. So I have to work out whether I just let the uni decide my destiny or whether I have a cheeky phone call to someone.
Yeah. So you just you're not fussed either way?
No, not really.
I love your attitude.
Are you going to teach in a private school eventually or public school?
I think the private school system is a lot easier to get into, particularly as a young Christian male. I think the state school system, unless you get headhunted by a school, it's a lot harder to get permanency. So I think I'd probably think about some Christian schools, some independent schools, and then I'm perfectly happy to teach at a state school, but it just depends on how easy it is to find a job.
Get the job. Yeah, cool. Nah, man, you got a great attitude for it, because I imagine a lot of it is you got to just be able to adapt and just kind of deal with what's in front of you. So it sounds cool with it so far. You're still there.
I'm still there. I haven't given up. That was the main thing. The main thing I didn't throw in the towel after third year and say I hate kids. I'm out of here. I'll see you later. Yeah.
What's because often teaching is the fallback for some people. Yeah. What's the fallback of the fallback?
Well, just doing an arts degree and not doing much with
it. Who does that hit? That hits a few people in the chat. Yeah. Oh, cool. Ryan does have your FPL team up in front of him. I believe he was going to ask you some more directed FPL questions.
I'm ready.
Thanks for your time about teaching. It is actually genuinely interesting to catch up.
Yeah. There are lots of people in the league who are teachers as well. So maybe you can leverage off their networks and their contacts and stuff.
Well, they'll just be terribly insulted at the crap I'm giving teachers. But
you're great. You'll be fine. We'd love to keep talking to you, but we can't edit, so we just have to keep zooming.
Oh yeah, good. Go for it.
So just going to run through your team real quick. I want to hear about your transfer and captaincy plans for this coming game week. The deadline is tomorrow morning. In goals, you've got McCarthy, defense, Chilwell, Dallas, Robertson, Kyle Walker-Peters. That's strong. Midfield, Bruno Fernandes, Salah, James Ward-Prowse, and Basuma, who's come off the bench. Up front, you've got Benteke and Watkins. On the bench, Martinez, so two good goalkeepers. And then you've got Son, Calvert-Lewin, and Kilman. So a very strong team. What are your transfer and captaincy plans for this coming game week?
Yeah, I think the first main thing, I've been looking to either get rid of Walker-Peters or Ward-Prowse for the last 5 weeks. And I just haven't found the right transfer thing to get rid of either of them. I think particularly Ward-Prowse I'm trying to get rid of. Just because he scores free kicks every once in a while, but doesn't really do heaps of other attacking work in the games. He sits super deep from what I've been watching. So I think if I can find out a sneaky way to get rid of Ward-Prowse and bring in someone that might be a bit more helpful, maybe even Pedro Neto, someone like that. I think that the choice each week is who to goal keep, and I reckon I'm going to probably lean towards Martinez this week over McCarthy since they're playing Liverpool. I'm expecting Liverpool to break their streak of disappointing draws and come out and wallop someone. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. I've been umming about Calvert-Lewin. He seems to be in and out of form a bit, but I don't know. And captaincy, I feel as though I'm on rotation between Salah or Bruno Fernandes. Even Son, I don't know, see what happens with him. But I don't know. Just trying to get rid of Ward-Prowse. That's the main thing on the agenda. I
That's
don't
my
know.
one goal.
I reckon he'll be in my team at the very end of the season. I reckon.
Every week thinking about it. But...
Yeah. That's great. It's really interesting to hear your thoughts because you're having a good season. And I like your team a lot. If I can offer any suggestions to you, in a couple of game weeks, Southampton will have a double game week. They play twice. So, I mean, if it was me, I'm not selling my Southampton players. But if you do, maybe look at Leeds. Rafinha is a cheap fielder who scored a goal last week, has scored well, and he also has a double. But then there's Benteke stinking up your front line as well.
Yeah.
I'd look to try and get rid of him. Maybe for someone who's playing 2 games. Watkins, Villa have a double game week now. But Dave, great thoughts. Thanks for all the best this week. And we're going to find out who you're versing with the game week 17 preview. Over to you, Tom.
Yeah, here we go. Game week 17. So first up, we got Brandon against Bailey. Bailey in some ripper form. I think this actually continues. I think Bailey is going to continue, and he's going to win again. So that'll be huge for Bailey. Start off the next cycle. Well, it's going to be week 2 of the new cycle, but he's going to be right in the beer zone. Then we got Brian against Luke, another mouth-watering fixture.
That's a big one, actually, yeah.
Because Brian down low recently, Luke up high. What's going to happen? I think Brian.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it is. But I think Brian's going to bounce back and actually defeat Luke here. So I think Luke's going to bear the brunt of Brian's frustration that's built up over the last couple of weeks. Another mouth-watering fixture, David against Simeon. Wow. So Simeon been sort of flying under the radar a bit, been scoring okay, but losing. But I think Dave's actually going to win here. I think Dave's going to. My prediction is he's going to get rid of Ward-Prowse. He's going to find a way to do something and make a good transfer, and he's going to win this week. So Dave, change Ward-Prowse.
What a wrap!
I
was predicting you to come out of nowhere and get 100 points and see you later.
Yeah. Then we got Daniel against Ryan, 2 huge heavyweights battling. This is tough. I was thinking about this for a couple of minutes, but I think Ryan's going to win here. I really think he's thought about things much more. Planning for his double game week and the blank game week. I think Ryan's going to crush Daniel here. Actually, it's going to be a very surprising matchup, and I can't wait for Daniel to hear the pod when this comes out. We got the Paxton brothers are playing each other.
That's good.
This is crazy. I think Parlay is going to win here. They're both in pretty good form. I think Parlay actually wins here. Nikolai won 4 in a row last cycle to finish off, and Parlay's still up high. I think.
Will there be a bit of spice between them? Tom, do you think this weekend in the house?
Oh, I reckon. But what I was actually thinking, they're going to be talking like they won't be hiding their teams from each other. They'll be just all open and liberal about showing each other like
pretty cool.
Talking about. I reckon it'll be a bit of a team effort to see who wins.
Who's got no mind games at all?
No mind games from these guys. No.
Interesting.
No. Then I got myself against you, Marcus.
Oh.
So.
Oh man, you're going good.
Overall, I'm going good. Like, obviously inconsistent with the wins, but
It went win loss. This week was a
last week
win.
you won, so you should lose this week.
You're done.
Due for a loss, am I? Damn. Yeah. Look, I don't like to pick against myself, and I'm usually right, so I'm going to pick myself and say I'm going to crush you, Marcus. It's going to be funny. Then we got Sam against Lucas, obviously the feature match.
Oh, the beer match.
Yeah, and Lucas is a big heavyweight of the top 4. I can actually see him winning by more than 10. So I think Lucas will win by more than 10, and we'll get a beer. Yeah, video to his total. Then we got the 2 bottoms, Geordie against Lee.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
Geordie's fixtures. He had Pez last week, Lee this week. Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny. I think Lee's going to check his team. That's my prediction. Lee's going to put some time into his team, and Lee's going to come out and beat Geordie this week after a few weeks and not. I was talking to him last night because we played each other last week, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I haven't really looked at it in 2 weeks. I think this is going to be the week he looks at it, and he wins." And if rounded out, we've got Perrin against Tom Jobe. This game is not going to air for obvious reasons, I think Perrin's going to win this. Actually, I think Perrin's got to bounce back from his last cycle, owing a lot of beers.
Let's go.
He'd be a bit frustrated, and he usually bounces back when faced with adversity. So I think Perrin's going to win against Tom Jobe. And I'll just also say this is the last round of fixtures before they restart again. So like this is 18 of us in the league, game week 17. Next week we'll play whoever we played in week 1. So this
Really?
And your form will revert to what it was at the beginning of the season.
That's true as well.
So for some.
Interesting.
So there we go.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Tom. Some fantastic matchups, as Parlay alluded to in the chat the other day.
Yeah, that is.
This week is going to be an interesting one, and the feature match with a beer on the table up for grabs. It's going to be extra spicy.
Yeah.
All the best. Remember, the deadline is Saturday at like 2 a.m. So get your teams in ready for tonight. Make sure you watch the pod. Tell your family and friends to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.